Good evening, everyone. I'll just quickly give you my background. So I'm a chartered accountant, as already introduced. I am into fintech, and anything and everything that you would want to ask at the end of the session, I'd be more than happy to take your questions. I have close to 10 years of work experience as a chartered accountant, plus working in the technology fintech industry. Traditionally, you all need to understand one thing, that traditionally always there are two things that have been the most remunerative. One is finance. So you will talk about, people say, investment bankers, hedge fund people, investment people, wealth tech people, all those people. And second is technology, software developers, people who have created some big software companies. So we are in the era in which all of you, including me, have an opportunity to make it big in the fintech industry, because both of these gets combined. So the best of finance and the best of technology is what lies with us. We have an opportunity to make something big in that. And this gives us a lot of career opportunity to all of you. You would be in your colleges, you would be doing your graduation. So you have a lot of opportunities out there. I'll try to brief as many number of things as possible. You would want me to help you with anything in particular, more than happy to answer it at the end of the session. So before I start with how a fintech thing works, I'm sure everyone would know the example of how Netflix, and the story of Netflix and Blockbuster. Um, for those of you who wouldn't know, so Netflix went to Blockbuster. This was back in 2000, and they told them that we would want to sell entire Netflix for $50 million. Blockbuster at that point of time was doing a mom and pop store, and they were trying to sell DVDs, CDs, and cassettes and everything, through road and mortar store, and they loved out. Okay, going forward 15 years or 20 years down the line, Netflix today is valued at $200 billion. And in 2016, if I'm not wrong, is when Blockbuster declared bankruptcy. Neither Netflix nor Blockbuster is related to financial technology, but the whole idea is, if you're not able to evolve the way things are evolving, it wouldn't be the right thing for us. You guys are in the right phase of choosing your career. So choosing the right career would definitely make the right, lead you to a right growth out there. Why you should, choose fintech as a career? For somebody who's more interested to work towards, say, a challenging job, a less structured job, or somebody who would want to start something from scratch, is where fintech gives you an opportunity. All over the world, there are more than 200 crore people who are still unbanked. Unbanked means they don't have any access to banking system. You don't have any precedence that how you will get them to the banking network. So a fintech thing will give you an opportunity to do something, to disrupt everything, and to be able to bring a change to everyone's life, right? If you're able to provide them banking facility, they will be able to do business. They'll be able to do much more than what is expected out of them. This power, this change in finance can only be done through technology, and that's why fintech holds a very, very important place. All the big fancy words that you would be hearing out today, say a cryptocurrency, maybe a insurance tech, a wealth tech, lending tech, all these companies are basically fintech. These are different arms of fintech. Maybe a blockchain. So what all gets covered in finance would be, say, a blockchain, crypto to an extent, yes. Okay. Banking, insurance, wealth, payment, lending, your capital market, wealth management. So anyone who's, most of the people in your age are interested to do something in share market. Even a share market is a financial industry. Even that gets covered under fintech. What all fintech, just to give a quick brief about, everyone knows what a fintech is, right? Finance plus technology. So you come up with a fintech thing. But it is actually the new technology that is working towards enhancing and automating, the delivery and use of financial services. How they were used before and how they are used now is totally different. Say example, 40 or 30 odd years back, ATM machine was a fintech thing, right? But now that the ATM or a debit card, a credit card, those were the things that disrupted the market back then. Nobody thought that they can just carry a plastic card in their pockets and they can just withdraw money. They can do banking transactions using a ATM machine and things. But that is what the change is all about, right? You don't need a full-fledged branch anywhere. Wherever you want to open, you can open an ATM. ATMs also accept, they can take money, they can give you money, you can withdraw money using your credit card, debit card. All those options are there. For those of you who would want to stay in India or who want to go abroad, I can talk about India a lot because our experience lies over there. India is the second biggest hub in the world, with more than 3,000 startups who are there in the fintech space. 20 of them are those who have already become a unicorn. Unicorn means somebody who has a valuation of $1 billion. If you converted it in today's date, so that would be around a 7,500 crore rupees. इतने बड़ी companies, privately held companies है. Many of these companies are also listed on the stock exchange now. You have your Paytm listed. You have Bank Bazaar, Bank Policy Bazaar or Bank Bazaar already listed on the stock exchange for that matter. We are using financial technology anywhere and everywhere. I wouldn't find anyone, you can poll and you can do. Anyone who's not using it is almost on a daily basis, right? You must be going to any shop, you would be scanning a QR code. How that QR code is working is because of the payment tech thing, which gets covered under fintech. You may be, buying an insurance online. That may be a rare thing. You may be trading. Some of you, out there, I know, trade a lot on stock market, right? So you would be trading either on a Zerodha portal, you have Grow, you have Upstocks. I think there are many platforms like this who allow you to trade at a very cheaper cost and with a fantastic technology that they have in the backend. Any company and every company wants to enter into this space, fintech today. Samsung, which we know traditionally as a phone company, has come out with Samsung Pay. Apple, which we also known for iPhones and MacBook and all those things, has also Apple Pay. Google has Google Pay. Amazon has Amazon Pay. So e-commerce companies also wanting to enter a fintech space. A Google, a search engine company, also wants to enter into a fintech space, because this is the space which nobody in the big players can dare to left unattended, because it is so big an opportunity. Daily billions and billions of dollars of transactions are happening. If these companies are not there, they wouldn't be able to survive for long. So it gives you all an immense opportunity to choose which side in career in fintech would you want to go ahead with. Okay, let me jump on to various tech things that are there. You want to brief, I would like to brief each one of them once. One is Paytech. So your QR code or any wallet to wallet transaction that you're doing, or any wallet to bank transactions that you're doing, that comes under a Paytech. Second is LendTech, lending and technology. So if you're borrowing money from somebody, now the latest concept is buy now, pay later. So you have companies like LazyPay. You can buy now and you get some credit period. So you don't even have to have a credit card. So the technology has evolved from bank to ATM card, debit credit card, to a cardless thing. So you don't need a card, you just need your phone and you're able to do everything. And with smartphone penetrated to every house, everyone, anyone and everyone, it will only evolve and it will only become bigger and bigger. Traditional banks, if they are not able to cope up, I wouldn't be surprised if their thing is becomes something like a blockbuster. They wouldn't be able to survive for long. They will be, obviously they won't go bankrupt because they have some traditional business and everything going on. What they will become is they will become a backend for all these fintech players. So fintech players are the front end for everything. At the back end, you will have these banks who will be able to help. Third is a neo banking, which is quite new a concept in India, and there are very few players, but obviously all of them getting millions and millions of dollars of funding. Banking, but without a branch. Okay, so like you see an ICICI or an HDFC Bank somewhere around the corner, you have banking space coming into neo banking, in which they're able to give you more interest, they're able to give you better services, but they don't have any branch. People are at the moment a bit reluctant as to where your money goes. What if they something happens with their technology, or who do you go to when you have any problem or anything. But those things eventually will get solved. Eventually, people will get that confidence. RBI doesn't give license to anyone and everyone. They also take care of a lot of compliances. Then you have insurance tech. Earlier, insurance was a traditional brick and mortar store. Now people are buying it, and everyone, I'm sure, knows about Policy Bazaar. And recently they also got listed on the stock exchange. Wealth tech, as I mentioned, it is more to do with companies like, say, a Zerodha or a small case who are, and it also includes robo advisory. With the portfolio that you have, with this targets that you have, that after 10 years you would want to withdraw this much amount of money, robo advisory is able to tell you how much you should be investing on a monthly, daily basis. There are companies like jar who save a portion of your spending on a daily basis and invest it into gold, for example, and you're able to make a good amount of money over there. You're able to save money in small bits. And the last one is a regulatory tech. Not many people are inclined towards a regulatory thing or a compliance thing, but this is also something that has a lot of future around. Reason being, it's becoming more and more complicated, more and more complex to do transactions, to do any kind of businesses, which will eventually wouldn't be simple. It will always remain the way it is, but we will have to figure it out. How can we make work of the user simple? And that's how that's how we'll be able to grow this as a career. So in finance or in technology, you have, say, in technology, if you're looking forward to an app development thing, or a system developer, a software engineer, a technical programmer, or a program manager, so these opportunities in fintech are on boom. And looking at the unbanked population that we have in the country at the moment, and country and the world, this will always, it is there to stay for long. So I don't see any reason why this wouldn't be there. In finance, you also have, say, a product development, a finance controller, a product manager, finance manager, somebody who's heading the treasury operations, lender partnership, fundraising. So these activities will typically be there and be there for really, really long. So somebody who's looking to make a career which is very rewarding, challenging, and one of the most highest paying, I think fintech is the space for them. Briefing about, I think everyone is able to understand when all of us are on the same page. There are some of, I'll mention about some of, or few of the highest paying and most interesting jobs that are there in the market at the moment. First one being a blockchain technology. So I'd like to reiterate this point that blockchain doesn't mean cryptocurrency. Okay. Blockchain is the technology which cryptocurrency is using, but they two are entirely different. Okay. Blockchain is the technology. So for any recording of any transaction in a more secured way is where the blockchain technology comes into picture. Crypto also uses the same thing, and that's why people get a little confused. But they are entirely different. Okay. And say, example, second, you may have around, say, a quantitative analytics or a data scientist. And this is the thing that most of the investment banker, hedge fund people are using. Any kind of data. So you have voluminous data. You have data running into, say, TBs and TBs. For somebody to interpret that data and advise on what needs to be done or what the trend is, quantitative kind of analysis that you all can do. So there are various courses, is something that will be of interest. Okay. App is basically a very simple, app development is basically a simple way for a user to communicate. Most of the traditional banks have not been able to cope up with it, and that's the reason you see all a lot of startups coming into picture. But I also see a lot of banks. For example, I would like to mention over here, you see Federal Bank. So Federal Bank is the backend bank for most of the startups who are there in neo banking space, say a Jupiter, and there are hundreds of others which Federal is associated with. So it is called as white label services, and the reason is they don't want to get left behind. Okay, so that's why they are able to provide those structured backend support to all these startups to grow. Fourth, and a very important one indeed, is cybersecurity. with money getting transacted on platforms, on phones, through just swipe or not even swipe right now. Nowadays, you just need to tap your card or you just need to tap your phone. I've seen transactions happening from phone to phone, just by touching those NFC technology, if I'm wrong. So those are happening, and that's why cybersecurity plays a very important role. There was a recent scam in which I think around 15,000 crore were manipulated or something went wrong with Wirecard, and a company based abroad had to file for bankruptcy. So cybersecurity plays a lot of important role. Um, and then you also have a compliance officer. With all these fintech companies, even in India, you need to take permission from RBI. RBI gives you permission to do things. Otherwise, you're not. You cannot do transactions the way you would want to do. You will have to have permission from the Reserve Bank of India in India. And similarly, any bank would have a central bank whose permission is required to be able to do anything in finance. So these would, these five. So I mentioned about blockchain, quantitative or data scientist, an app developer, cybersecurity, and risk officer. So these five are quite promising career according to me in finance. Because these are also helping in automating a lot of things. Easiness of doing things is what these roles or these jobs would be doing it in future as well. um, what I think I have mostly covered most of the points that I had in my mind. If anyone has any question, anyone would want me to elaborate on something, I'll be more than happy to do that. So always remember. So obviously, right? You all can question me that even a bank can do what your fintech is doing, and absolutely they can do. There has to be some kind of willingness that they want to do, or some kind of innovation that they would want to do, which at the moment we are not seeing, and that's why we are seeing a lot of startups, not only in India but all over the world, uh, being able to grow in the fintech space. Otherwise, ATM cards, you don't need to go to any XYZ person; you can just take it from a bank. But bank has stopped, to an extent. I can say they have stopped innovating. They're just traditionally doing what they have been doing, what they have been good at. So I feel fintech has amazing opportunity in career. Maybe you finance, maybe technology. Both are here to stay for really, really long. So I now leave the mic open. If anyone has any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer.
Hi, Vaibhav. This is Vikram. I have a question for you. First of all, thanks for doing this. It's really, really insightful.
Thank you.
I guess my question, so I have a daughter who's going to 12th grade. So I'm just thinking like, okay, well, what are some of the skills and hard skills that she needs to sort of learn and understand so that by the time she's looking for a job in about 5 years from now, right? And it's hard to predict, but we'll take our best guess, right? Like 5 years from now, like what are some of the things that she should absolutely must have? So one of the things that sort of struck me when you were talking about sort of the fintech industry at large and sort of when you said sort of the highest paying jobs,
right?
Very technical, right? So if a candidate or if a student has primarily been focused on finance, financial management, financial modeling, etc., is that not a transferable, or not a transferable, but is that a skill set not necessarily valued in fintech companies, or is hardcore tech like the five that you talked about, out of those, all five are fairly basically the software programming, right? Be it blockchain, or be it cybersecurity, or be it any of these, except for risk compliance, which is more for compliance and less about software.
Correct. Okay, so I would like to answer that in a way that obviously if financial, so what happens is technology guys, so even in our company or any other company, technology guys they are not finance, they're not having finance background. So the back end of those financial technologies companies would be the people, just like you mentioned about your daughter who may want to do something in financial modeling or anything in finance. They will have to give how things needs to work is what a finance person tells a technology person, and technology person develops and puts those codes 0 and 1 to be able to make that thing. So the back end of a fintech will always remain with the finance person. How the transaction needs to happen is what the finance person is going to tell the technology person. According to me, new skill sets that they can develop, there are various courses that are happening, online available on various platforms. They can pursue in relation to understanding little bit about technology, not hardcore technology, say a blockchain, but they should know about basics of all these things, which are quite simple for a student, because I've also done a couple of courses from there. And the 5 things that I mentioned. So data, for example, if you talk about, say, data scientist, right? It's not to do with only technology, but also to do with your analytical skills. So any course that helps you in improving those analytical skills, when you get voluminous data, how do you present that data? How you interpret those information from that data would be something that would be useful. So being a valuation guy, financial modeling comes on level 1. Then you need to do some kind of valuations, and then you arrive at the value of the transaction. That's how typically a financial model works. A coder who would want to do all these things on or using technology will anyways and every time, so he would require help from somebody who has that finance knowledge. And somebody who has finance knowledge and an edge towards technology would be able to grow faster as compared to somebody who just has financial knowledge and won't be able to help as to how to do it.
Okay, thank you very much. I guess one follow-on question to that is, and a more practical way to answer that is, in your fintech company, when you're looking at your entire your pool of people, right? Your employees, how many of them are sort of hardcore? Forget the overlaying function, HR and accounting and all of that, right? Let's talk about product. How many of them are your financial, come from that background versus technologists?
I think you put in a really to the nail that point. So we have only 4 technology people who are hardcore tech guys, and we have more than 12 people who are from the finance background. Because end of it, even the people who will be answerable to somebody would be those finance people. Technology people just needs to develop the technology that these 12 people are saying. So that ratio will always be higher towards, according to our stats and according to what we are doing, will always be higher on the finance side. Unlike, say, a Zomato, which will have more people doing the technology work, a fintech company will always have more finance people. I hope
Thank you very much.
The question. Yeah, thank you, Vikram. So we have a question from Riddhi.
Hi. So in your company, do you have data analysts?
We do. Yes, we do have data analysts. Yeah.
So I've heard that term like a lot because it seems to be a very high demand job these days. Mm-hmm. So what exactly does a data analyst do?
Okay. So I'll give you a live example. What happens is there are more than 1,000 companies all over India who are listed on the stock exchange. You have some idea about share market, little bit?
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah, my dad's into it.
Oh, great. So we have more than 1,000 companies who are listed on the stock exchange, and there are transactions going on. Somebody is declaring dividends, some of the other routine nature of business that is going on. When this data comes to us, we need to analyze that which would be the next company who, for example, would be able to declare dividend, looking at the industry, looking at the scenario, looking at various other factors which are there. Say, example, Ukraine, Russia, or which companies will still be able to declare dividend, which wouldn't be. So a data analyst would put all of them put together, put various kind of scenario analysis, and be able to arrive, to an extent, will be able to arrive at the right conclusion as to what should happen. So a data analyst, similarly, when I also discussed about robo advisory, a data analyst would use your data to help you understand that, say, example, Riddhi wants X amount of money after 5 years for whatever work she's done. They will take your data of last 10 years, 20 years example, and try to arrive as to how much you can save, where you can save, where you should invest, whether you are a risk averse person, whether you are a risk taker, how, and analyze that information to be able to give you an output which is easily understandable by you.
Okay, so companies have these in high demand because, so this job will always be in demand because it's you can never have too many of data analysts, right?
True. So this will always be there, and it's there for long. And with every day passing, the data is just gonna get in. The volume of data will just increase, and with more and more transactions happening on various different platforms, it becomes all the more complicated to get all the data on one platform to be able to analyze it. So that's the role of a data analyst will always, be there.
Okay, and a final question. Do you think it's possible to have like a nomadic lifestyle with this job specifically, or with any technical job?
Sorry, I think I lost your voice in between. Can you please?
Sorry, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
So I was asking, is it possible to have like a nomadic lifestyle with any of these technical type jobs? Nomadic as in like digital nomad, like you move around countries a lot or cities.
I may not know in detail because we have more India-centric work that we're doing at the moment, but I don't see a reason why shouldn't.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Riddhi. So we have Yashvi. Nitin, then we'll take your question.
Hello, sir.
Hi,
Sir, I wanted to ask that what are the basic requirements for fintech? Like you told us that you were a CA, you did CA, and then you prospered into the fintech technology.
correct.
So, can you tell us that what were the steps or series that you followed for getting into fintech?
Absolutely.
Like what are the particular qualifications that we need to have?
Okay. That's a quite good a question in terms of most people may have that thing. So as a chartered accountant, we also have a lot of people who are not chartered accountant, but people who are inclined towards finance. So you need not have a CA degree or a CFA degree for that matter to be able to join a fintech industry. So when I'm talking about fintech, I'm more concentrating things towards finance, because if you're talking more about say technology, then obviously, as an app developer, you need not restrict yourself only to finance. You can obviously move on to, Zomato or any other company for that matter. So talking about more about finance, you may want to have some kind of degree in terms of, say, example, if you're talking about regulatory tech, you may want to do a degree that's more to do with understanding more of regulations that are there in India. So a company secretary may be more apt for you. With if you're talking about more to do with, say, insurance tech, so you may want to do an actuary degree. There's a degree called actuary done by the Actuary Institute of India. Difficult to do, or very difficult to do, but you may want to concentrate over there. Doing a CA degree, obviously chartered accountant degree, obviously opens up all the options for you at the moment. So even if you want to do anything in reg tech, as a chartered accountant, we are taught that subject also for 5 years. We can cover that. If you're talking about, say, various other laws that are changing, for example, GST was implemented in 2017. You have any other laws thing that are changing, even those can be done by a chartered accountant. But if you want to do something, say, around share market, so a CFA degree may be a more apt degree for you then. But degree obviously does help you reach that stage, so that you're able to understand things better. So you can choose actually from various degrees. If it's share market, then you can choose CFA. If it's about regulation, you can choose company secretary. If you're confused, you don't know which one to do, you can actually start with chartered accountancy, because it gives you it opens up all things together. So in accounting, law, regulations, computers is also one of the subjects that we have. Share market is also, I think, an optional subject now. It wasn't when 12 years back when I did. So you can choose from any of these, good courses that are there in the market.
So currently I'm pursuing CA. I'm in 12th and I've taken commerce and maths. So do you think is a good idea to continue in the commerce sector?
Absolutely. See, if that is something that is of your interest, you're liking it as a subject, fintech is open for people like you who are inclined towards finance, but who are also interested or have some kind of knack towards technology. So there are two kinds of people. You will see traditional chartered accountants who are just doing the way things have been happening throughout. And there would be the newer generation, I would say, who would love to do things with technology, automating things. There are a lot of things that we have automated. So our client tells us, can you do this for us? We automate it and we give it to them in no time. So a CA degree will certainly help you out there. That's right.
So my last question is, you said that fintech can be quite challenging. So what kind of obstacles can we face and what can be done in order to smoothen them?
Difficult to answer, but I'll tell you why fintech is difficult. Fintech doesn't have any precedence. For example, when UPI was implemented in India, there was no precedence. Nobody knew how this transaction is going to happen, how regulations will also be kept in mind, and how we'll be able to make a system that is it is free. UPI is free transaction. Government has made it free. How those transactions will happen, आपके पास you don't have any example, right? If I tell you, can you make a pen, you know you have to make something like this or maybe something better than this. In case of fintech, the challenge is you don't know whether you'll be able to solve it or you won't be able to solve it. If you'll be able to solve it, how you will solve it, you only have to decide that thing. So that is the challenge that it's coming with, because fintech has been evolving, innovating at a pace in which other people are also not able to cope up. So if you're able to take up that challenge that you don't know what to do, but you'll be able to solve that problem, fintech will be a good option for you. And I think that should answer my question.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Rashmi. So we have Nitin. Nitin, you may want to take it.
Hi, Vaibhav.
Oh, sorry.
I'm Nitin's mother.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I have that
Okay.
name. Yeah.
Right.
Hmm.
I wanted to ask, if my son doesn't want to take up, chartered accountancy or courses which are a little on the longer or little more professional, and he would like to take up a BBA course, how would you rate a BBA course for the fintech industry? He could go either on the finance side or the tech side, depending. That's one question. Secondly, there are some courses which are being offered in colleges which say that they also give a kind of in-house working experience, kind of an internship.
Yeah.
So a few hours of a week goes in an internship. How would you rate such kind of a courses in today's? Is it required, or a traditional college environment is better?
So ma'am, according to me, so in a chartered accountancy course, you would be knowing that we have approximately 2.5 to 3 years of training. Out of the 5 years that we're studying, we have exams in between, and we have to undergo that compulsory training in the CA course. And the reason for that is to understand the practicality of things that are happening at the moment on the ground. So it's very simple for me to read a book and understand, okay, this is the law. But law is complicated in India, right? It is one of the most complicated laws because there are so many regulations, there are so many things, you have 20 other laws that are happening. How things practically happen, anyone and everyone can only understand when they're undergoing any kind of training. So according to me, and anyone, I can vouch for that, any course that is opting you or giving you an option to do any kind of articleship or any kind of internship, the more the better. So if somebody is offering, say, a 3 hours of internship, I would strongly recommend you that when your kid or when your son, daughter, they are sitting and they have time, they should undergo any kind of internship, maybe work with anyone and everyone in finance. And because finance as a field is so big, they will get to learn. So example, you send them to me. I will give them an option to work in compliances at the moment. Okay. If you send it to any of my friends,
Okay.
they may want to do it in something in, say, share market, data analysis kind of thing, which is an option out there. So articleship is kind of mandatory. During those, I would say the golden period when your kid is learning something, I would strongly recommend them to work somewhere or the other under a good mentor throughout. I think that does answer. I hope that answers the second question that you've asked, ma'am.
Yes. Yes.
Talking about the first question, whether BBA will be able to do. BBA is good, is good, but it's more to do with somebody who's wanting to do MBA in future. if your son, if your kid is preparing for MBA in finance, and that's the reason he would be doing BBA at the moment, it could be a good option. BBA finance restricts itself to to certain things that are there in terms of academics as compared to CA. But I don't I wouldn't say that everyone should pursue CA. Because CA is very difficult course, very difficult course in the sense that you have 3 exams, all needs to be passed, and there are 5-6% people who are passing that exam. Not everyone may want to understand those 8 chapters or 8 subjects, that we have at the moment. But if in BBA they're able to take up, they love, for example, I've done BCom actually. If they've done something in BBA, say in finance, they have and something related to accounts, and they are liking it, so they can take up that as a challenge and do it. Pursue other courses which complement this. But only a BBA plus an MBA could be helpful, but only a BBA may not be, according to me, in fintech. Because fintech, fintech by itself is a little complicated. So the more sophisticated somebody is, the more knowledge he has about a lot of things that are surrounding it, it would be more helpful.
Okay, so BBA would be very general.
BBA is general. If you want to do MBA, then obviously BBA does make sense, because there are a lot of, what I understand, there are a lot of common things that are there. So BBA is understandable. But for fintech, he has to do something more than just a BBA. Okay. Looking at the competition out there in the market right now.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
So thank you, Suryansh.
Hello, sir. My question to you is, how is investment banking as a career?
Investment banking is an amazing career. If you're able to make a career in investment banking, nothing like it. Because all the big people out there who are there in the market are investment bankers. Investment banking may not have anything related to investment banking, fintech, but investment banking as a career has a lot of good opportunity. So you are basically the front end of the deals, the biggest of deals that are happening. So an investment banker would be involved when you're talking about HDFC and HDFC Bank merger, which was there in news 3 days back, right? And investment bankers are the smartest people in the room. They know which transaction, what transaction, how to do everything. If you're able to make a career in it, nothing like it.
Sir, what kind of skill set should a person possess?
So as I mentioned, you have to be the smartest people in the room. So right from your communication skills to your knowledge, to the way you present your data, to anything and everything that's going, how you are able to link everything, anything and everything. So just understand one thing: if you're on the top, what all you need to be on the top, you need everything. So investment bankers are on the top. They know which transaction, what transaction, nature of industry. They know how to communicate things better. They know how to present themselves better. You need to have everything in that. So students, what you can do it. So investment banking, every finance person pursue or, would want to do that kind of course, and they love to do, and they want to pursue that as a course. But that would be I would say the last goal to be an investment banker. Let's talk about those stepping stones. Think about, first you may want to do some kind of due diligence. Then you may want to enter into valuations. Then you may want to enter into M&A space, mergers and acquisition. And then comes an investment banker. So getting an opportunity to become an investment banker on day one, it's quite low, but you can choose at the back end that, let's start with due diligence, or let's start with valuations or mergers and acquisition consulting in this space, and then become an investment banker.
Sir, one more thing I wanted to ask is, how is CA plus MBA a combination to be a future investment banker?
So CA itself is more than enough, but if you're doing a CA and an MBA also from an Imperial College, I think the next seminar you can take anytime. You'll be the smartest.
Thank you, sir.
So you already studied 5 years CA plus 2 years. So you've done 7 years of good academic knowledge with practical knowledge. So I think it would be great.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Thanks. Meet, you can take up your question. We only have actually 5 minutes. So anyone who will want to take.
Good evening, sir.
Good evening.
Sir, I wanted to ask that how is it to make a career in a financial analyst?
How to make a career in financial analysis.
Yes, sir. And what about it?
So there are various courses like a CFA, which typically helps you in making those career. But CFA, I think you can pursue only after, if I'm not wrong, after some years of graduation. I think you can enter into only third year of graduation. So doing, I think a BFA degree is also quite famous, Bachelor of Financial Analyst, plus a CFA could be helpful for you in that space.
Sir, BFA and which one?
BFA plus CFA. So CFA you will have to pursue after, I think after second year of your BFA, you can pursue CFA. So these are hardcore, financial analyst things.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, if I'm a science student, then what would you suggest for me to enter the financial technology?
So Ruchita, I am also a science student. Okay, I am also a bio student, ex-bio student. 11, 12, I don't know why I took bio. But you may want to start your career by doing any of these. So you're inclined more towards finance or more towards technology is what you need to answer. If you're a science, if you're an engineer side of, so the technology side of it can help you into fintech. Ruchita?
Yes, sir. I'm more inclined towards the technology science because I'm a math student, not
Exactly. So Ruchita, you can do something. So the things that we talk about, the latest technology that we spoke about, the things that even Vikram sir mentioned about that, I focused a lot. I mentioned a lot of things about technology, say a blockchain or I think cryptocurrencies ke baare mein tha. Then there were quantitative analysis, data analysis, you have app development. So if you pursue career in any of these things, make a career out of them, then you have an option to join not only fintech, but various other options that you have. So at that point of time, after pursuing your, completing your technology course, you can choose to be in fintech industry.
But then what about my base in financial knowledge?
Financial knowledge you can gain by doing some other courses because you would have technology as your main career, and then doing some kind of finance. As I mentioned to other people who are doing hardcore finance and learning some things about finance, it would be opposite for you. Doing main technology thing and learning some things about finance. So you cannot be doing CA also and engineering also. That will just complicate and take 10 years of your time.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So Vian, we have a question from you.
Yeah, so I wanted to ask about like summer programs. So I'm like about to get into the 11th grade, and I wanted to know what kind of like different summer programs you would suggest to take.
Summer program, I'm sorry, unfortunately, I wouldn't be the right person. I think Devesh or somebody from his team can help you with that. Sorry.
Okay, so thank you.
Devi, we have a question from you. We have last 1 minute.
Yeah, good evening, sir. So my question is that, sir, you have talked about CFA a lot in your session. So, sir, how are the other courses in finance like FRM, CFP, or in your eyes? Like, how do you think
So
they will
depending
help?
on the course that you're emphasizing, because I discussed about CFA when somebody was talking more about share market or a financial analyst. If you're talking about say an FRM or the other course that you mentioned, if you're able to, for example, insurance or investment tech thing that you're talking about. So even an FRM could be a good option. Or CFM could be a good option. So you just need to choose which area that you need to specialize in, right? And then backward choose the course that you would want to do. And if you obviously, I wouldn't expect that from everyone that they can pursue, that they would know that which is the career that they would want to make. Then choosing a generic course could also be helpful.
Got it, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Vaibhav, we have a question from you.
Vaibhav, I'm Rajesh Madhavan, Vaibhav's father.
Okay, hi, sir.
Hi. Just wanted to know, maybe I think you would have talked about this a little earlier, but what are some of the synergies between medical field and fintech? Someone who initially starts with, let's say, medical biology, and are there any synergies, or what are some of the opportunities going forward?
According to me, I'm not really aware about anything because they are quite different fields, right? Unless you have something, so if you have a medtech and a fintech, I can understand that there could be technology that could be helpful to both. But a hardcore med person or a hardcore finance person, in my understanding, they cannot enter each other's space.
Nothing connected to even the biotech area also, no? As of now?
Fintech wouldn't play any role there also.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. So we just have 10 seconds left. I would like to thank each one of you. I hope this session was of some value add to all of you. And thank you so much for being there and being there throughout. Thank you.
Everyone, thank you once again, and have a great day.